So the new Disney live-action Snow White movie came out, and big surprise, it sucks. But this got me thinking, what about video games? Are there any hidden gems in the world of Snow White video game adaptations, or do they all suck too? And for the sake of distracting myself from Disney's corporate greed producing crappy adaptation after crappy adaptation, and well, just everything else going on right now, I took it upon myself to play every Snow White game ever made. Well, not ever made. There's a whole bunch of mobile games and browser games that I'm not gonna play today. But other than that, every Snow White game ever made. It's really not that many games. Also, at the end, I'm gonna rank all of them from worst to best, and you'd be surprised, they aren't all bad. Most everyone's first exposure to Snow White is, of course, the Disney classic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Well, did you know there was actually supposed to be a video game adaptation of this film in 1977 for the Atari, but it never got released? Guess what they called it? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yeah, that makes sense. This is back when you could just release a game about tennis and call it tennis. Apparently they released some prototype versions of this game in 2002 for collectors, but this game was never actually released though, and that might have been a good thing. Good thing I don't have to play it, because it never came out, so it doesn't count, and it doesn't matter. The next game to release was Snow White Happily Ever After. This was based on some different Snow White movie that isn't Disney from 1989 that I've never heard of before. This one was for the SNES, and this game was actually kind of fun. The game is just a 2D platformer where you collect fruit. The whole screen is full of fruit, the whole game. I watched the movie for this one, and I don't really get the fruit thing still. It's sensory overload of fruit. It was super satisfying for a while, but eventually I got tired of mindlessly collecting a seemingly endless amount of fruit in every level. I would spend the whole level collecting fruit, then get to the end and it would send me back to collect more fruit before I could leave. Like the finish line was my disappointed father, who also happens to be a fruit farmer or something. On top of collecting fruit, there's little hearts you can collect, and for every heart you get another life, and they're everywhere. They're about as common as the fruit are. As you're playing the game, you'll realize you have about 50 lives, so they become pretty expendable. I was expecting a really janky, hard SNES game, but it was a pretty easy game. At the end of this one, there was a dragon, and it was honestly pretty fun. All of the extra lives that I had collected and been just mindlessly throwing away because I thought they were like super expendable, well, turns out you're really just stockpiling for this dragon fight because he's pretty tough. He took out most of my lives at the end of the game. Oops. Once you beat him, you get a cutscene and the game ends. I'm pretty sure you could play through the game as the prince as well, but I'm good. Moving on to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on the Game Boy Color. This one was pretty rough, but fortunately, it's not the worst one on here. Would you imagine that?
Dad, can I get the new Pokemon game?
No, you are getting Snow White and you will like it. It will teach you good values like picking flowers and doing dishes and stuff.
Fuck you.
So Snow White, but on the Game Boy Color. Portable. You know what the main gameplay loop is? Picking stuff up. In the first level, you just walk around and pick flowers. This is on hard difficulty. On easy, you can't jump and the game automatically picks the flowers up for you. It's almost like they designed this game for little baby children and not a grown adult man like me. So maybe I shouldn't be so harsh on it. Well, I think it's fair because only a few levels later, I got stuck on a puzzle. They had this Simon Says game halfway through that was every button on the controller. And I'm not the best at this sort of stuff. I don't have the best memory, but this was ridiculous. Wait. If you were a kid playing this back when it came out, you would have probably had to write it down just to do it. There were a bunch of different mini games in this game, but in between every single different mini game, you would have to collect more things. You'd do a maze, and then you'd have to collect things. And then you would run through the woods as a deer, and you would have to collect more things. And then you would do a Simon Says game, and then you'd go back to collecting things. And I'm just so sick of collecting things. It's not even like satisfying like in the SNES game I played. Telling me I need to collect these? I need to collect, how many of these do I need to collect? How many of these do I need to collect? Are you telling me I need to fill up this whole bar? Then you collect some more stuff, again and get to the final level. What is the final level that we worked so hard to get to? Tetris, but really bad. You basically just sort things into different stacks. It's awful. It's really bad. This game is really bad. Time to move on to the real star of the show. The real reason we're all here. Yes, the infamously bad Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys for the PS2. In 3D? The cover says it all. Look at the graphics, the trees, and that moon. 3D graphics. Let's go, let's see it. What? But the box art. It's a 3D Snow White game. Why is she blonde? Who are these? Who are the? Maybe it's still 3D. It could just be the menu. Oh, so I see. It's like a coloring book. That's nice. That's right now I'm trying to make her lips red, but the sensitivity on the mouse is it's a little tricky. I can't. This fucking sucks.
What are you doing?
I'm fucking trying to make her lips red.
This game is just a bunch of assorted mini games like the last one, and a short animated movie at the end, which we'll get to. Look how just look. Look how long it took me to color her lips in. This game, you got puzzles, you got different animated puzzles, you got coloring books. I mean, that's really it. It's just a bunch of dumb little mini games that they're not even mini games. They're just like interactive, vaguely. You know what? These mini games suck. I'm done with these mini games. Let's just finish this thing off right with a nice animated movie.
The forest was kept perfectly in order by 7 clever and thoughtful young boys.
Hey, this is actually pretty cute.
There was Big Basil, who was huge. Well, for a boy, he was huge. And then Sunny, who took care of the plants and the animals.
Okay, I think I'm done playing this one. All right, so now I'm gonna rank all of the games that I just played from worst to best. Last place on our list goes to Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys. Yeah, I mean, you probably should have expected that. And in fourth place, we're gonna have Snow White and the Seven Dwarves for Atari. I mean, I didn't really play this one. I think morally, I have to put Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys in last. And in third place, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves for the Game Boy Color. I actually thought this one was kind of pretty when I played it, and that's the only thing that made it redeemable in any way. In second place, we have Snow White Happily Ever After for the SNES. It was super satisfying and the movement was pretty fluid. All in all, pretty good game. And in first place, we have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Yep.
He's a lion! Mark my words!
Another day, another victory for the OG.
All right, bye.